What's going on, guys? Unknown Player here, and today we've got some more Destiny 2 topics to discuss, including a really helpful trick to save you a bunch of time at farming materials, also some rare loot inside engrams, how to get more bright dust, some stuff about DLC 2 and more, so quite a few miscellaneous things in this video. So let's begin with a pretty cool tip that's going to save you a lot of time farming materials for those dawning quests, and these are the ones that ask you to go around planets and collect materials. So any of them that require the blue rare materials, this trick is going to work and save you a bunch of time, which is nice because the blue ones probably take the longest to collect. A lot of them are going to ask you to get 3 dust-like crystals, for example, which of course is the rare version, the blue one, of the dust-like shards on the EDZ. It's also worth noting this trick is not going to work on the standard green ones, so if it requires 10 of the normal materials, this is not going to work. You still have to get those as normal, there's no trick for that unfortunately, but if you need some blue ones, this is going to help you out. So these mini quests ask you to collect materials, and it doesn't matter if you already have them, it wants you to go get new ones, but as it turns out you can simply just put them inside your vault, take them out again, and it is going to count as them being newly collected, so it's pretty funny. As you can see, for this quest, I need 3 dusk-like crystals, which of course you find on the EDZ. These are the blue versions. I didn't actually have any of these, so I need to find at least one for this to work. I eventually found one by farming, and then in my inventory you can see I have 1 of the 3 required. Instead of going around to find another 2, I'll simply use Destiny Item Manager to put 1 in the vault, take it out again, and it's going to be completed. Simple as that. Also, you can just go to the real vault inside the tower. It works exactly the same. I just use Destiny Item Manager because it's quicker simply, but there's no difference if you use Bungie Companion or Destiny Item Manager or a different one, or if you go to the real vault. It's all the same. As long as you're putting the item inside the vault and then taking it out again, the game is going to recognize you collecting those materials as if you found them inside one of the worlds. Once again, just to be super clear, this is only going to work for the blue materials, not the green ones, and it is also going to work on every planetary material, not just the EDZ ones. So for example, you need the Alkane spores on Titan, it's going to work the exact same thing. And also, of course, don't dismantle any of the blue planetary materials because you can just use them over and over again for this trick. So hopefully this should help some of you out. Now, this actually pointed out to me by one of you guys in the comments of my latest video. It was the top comment, so one of you told me about it. I tried it on the green ones and it didn't work, then the blue ones did. So there you go. Hopefully it helps some of you guys trying to farm these gift packages. They can take like an hour or more because they're purely dependent on RNG. So definitely a very random trick, but let me know if it works for you down below in the comments. Now, something pretty strange about these gifts is that they do have their own specific kind of loot pool, which is very different to most engrams, actually very different to the dawning ones. It's kind of a small selection of what you'd typically expect inside them. You've got some dawning items, a couple ships, you also got all 4 of the shaders. They do have a chance at exotic engrams, which is pretty cool, and also the Zephyr, which is the only dawning weapon as it seems. So this, of course, is the sword, the same one that Christopher Barrett tweeted out a while back. I could have sworn earlier on they said in a live stream there'd be a full weapon set of like multiple, but it seems so far there's only the sword. And of course, this is the one and only source to actually get this weapon. And after the dawning ends in 2.5 weeks, there'll be no other way to actually get this sword at all. So it is very limited edition, I guess, but nothing too fantastic in my opinion. So it's in the adaptive archetype, and its main perk is Whirlwind Blade, so rapid hits is going to boost this weapon's damage. So it's a pretty cool perk, obviously. Whirlwind Blade is one of the best 4 swords, but I'm not really that fussed about swords, to be honest. They seem pretty boring in this game. They're kind of cool in terms of perks, but they just don't seem as exciting as Destiny 1. Even though they do all have pretty much the Raise Lighter perk, they just don't really seem that exciting to me personally, and they were hands down my favorite weapon type in Destiny 1. I always use them, so I'm hoping they bring in some kind of exotic ones that have really cool perks, something out of the box besides just Raise Lighter uppercuts and more ammo or damage when you get rapid hits. But they're definitely by far one of my least used weapon types, but let me know down below, is that just me or do you guys think swords are pretty boring as well? Now, something else also inside these engrams is for some reason a second set of class items for each of the classes. So a cloak, bond, and also mark. You find a secondary one very similar to the original dawning set, but a little bit different as well. So again, these are exclusive to these gift in return packages. You can't get them in the normal bright engrams. You can see this is the standard Warlock Bond, and this is the one found inside the gift in return. So I'm not really too sure why this is, but a cool class item. Again, it's exclusive. So those class items and also that Zephyr sword are things you'll only find inside the gift in return. They have a pretty low drop rate. They're quite hard to come by, but I know a lot of you are asking me how to get that sword, so there's your answer. So moving on to the next topic, I want to mention a fake DLC leak that started to go around a little bit recently from some forums and press articles. It was stating the next expansion, the Warmind one, DLC 2, revolves around Nezarec, Rasputin, and also the Darkness, which of course in itself makes 0 sense from a lore standpoint. But a lot of you have been asking me, what do I think? Is it real? Does it match up with what we're seeing? The short answer is unfortunately no. It definitely sounds cool, but it's just fan fiction, really. It's also a lot of info that Bungie would never actually reveal about an expansion, like who the final boss of the raid layer is. Bungie would never put that in the game files. It just wouldn't exist like that. and it's also worth noting there aren't any actual game files and no evidence of the info, so it's all just kind of come out of nowhere. Normally those files will be posted for everyone to see, but this time there aren't actually any files, and it's pretty much made up out of thin air. So just a quick heads up or a PSA, if you hear something about Nezarec or the Darkness in TLC 2, it is completely made up unfortunately. We're not going to be hearing anything about the second expansion for at least a few months from now, but expect it to take place on Mars or Phobos, with the Bray family and Rasputin being the focus. That's pretty much all we know so far from the in-game lore hints and also the official artwork of the second expansion. So moving on, let's talk about Bright Dust, the main currency used to of course purchase things directly from Eververse without gambling on those RNG loot boxes. If you're looking to get some more, a helpful tip is that you probably have at least a few thousand in your vault and sitting in items you don't actually use. So the main one is going to be shaders. These are split into ones you get from activities like Nessus or the Raid, those go into Glimmer, whereas ones from Eververse of course dismantle into Bright Dust. So you can just go through a bunch of legendary ones, they drop around 10 dust per one. There are a bunch that I already dismantled a few weeks ago when I remembered you could do this, like Bumblebee and Watermelon, which I don't think look too great personally, but the super bright pink ones, it depends on which ones you like obviously, but just go through and delete the ones you don't like and even thin out the ones you might use. I'm sure by now most of your things have shaders anyway, so you probably don't need like 50 of each one. But if you dismantle a couple hundred, that'll get you a couple thousand Bright Dust, which can then get you a couple Dawning Armor pieces or stuff from those test guaranteed slots, and even some exotics, which I think cost 2,500. But I guarantee most of you probably have at least a few exotics worth just in spare shaders alone. The only downside is it does take a very long time to actually go through and dismantle each individual shader. Bungie did say they will be fixing that soon, so you can bulk dismantle shaders stacks at a time, so I'm not sure when that's coming, but they are working on it. An even better source would definitely be ships, ghosts, and also sparrows. Here you can get hundreds at a time. You get so much Bright Dust from these, but it depends on what you get rid of. I'm pretty sure exotics give you like 750 or 1,000 per one. So again, I bet a lot of you probably have a ton of spares that's going to get you even more dust than shaders. I remember clearing mine out a few months ago and I got like 5k Bright Dust. What I did for ghosts is make sure I have at least one for every material on every planet that detects them, and also some for more XP in the Crucible, and there are new ones like more stuff from strikes and public events, but other than that, just get rid of all of them, all the duplicates and basic things you don't ever use, and sparrows and ships are pretty much the same thing, even less functional, so you can get rid of even more of those. Now, a word of advice and something I think really sucks about the Dawning, and a lot of people have also noticed, is that those things you get from the gift in return, those quests that I mentioned earlier in the video, the actual things you get from them, they don't dismantle into Bright Dust, but instead give you Glimmer and Legendary Shards. And they also go into separate stacks, which is definitely even more annoying. So this Dawning Hope is the same shader of course, but split across two different stacks, as if inventory space wasn't bad enough. But this is because one of them I got from the actual Dawning Engram from the Mayhem quest, and the other one is from the gift in return. So one from Eververse, one from grinding, they separate and dismantle into different stuff. They made sure that you only get Bright Dust from things you buy, or those kind of 2 per week that you get from those Dawning quests that require you to do Mayhem and then strikes. But even though they are the same exact item, the things you grind for inside those gift in return packages are never going to drop you Bright Dust, and that is why they separate. So obviously I'm not really a fan of this, it makes no sense to me personally, and it also just makes your inventory even more of a mess, which is definitely not needed right now. But even more than that, it prevents you from getting that tiny bit of Bright Dust to help you buy stuff directly from Eververse, which would be nice, but they made sure you cannot do that. So for those asking why things are being stacked differently, that is unfortunately the answer of why. So next up, let's talk about Crucible and how it's a little bit broken right now, and also Bungie's response to this, what they plan on doing, which is even more bad news. So if you've played Mayhem, you've probably noticed a lot of Nova Bombs being thrown, and that is because of some game-breaking glitch. Basically, if you're not a Void Walker, you're probably going to lose. Now, Bungie said it does only work in the Mayhem playlist, and they won't be able to fix it until they're back from the holiday, which of course is also when the Dawning ends. So they're simply going to let the Dawning end, and that's also of course going to make the Mayhem mode disappear, which is the only place the glitch works. Now, for those wondering if you'll get banned for doing the glitch, the short answer is no, and they even said that. But Bungie rarely ban people for doing this sort of thing unless you're really ruining trials or hacking the game or doing it out of map glitch. But at this point, they will be banning like half the people playing Crucible, so everyone knows about this glitch by now, it's no secret. And it's pretty much the same as the Prometheus lens, just a bit more on the exploit side, and anyone that doesn't know about it is going to be killed by the glitch, and then they're going to know about it. So it's one of those things that kind of spreads, and it is going to be happening until the event ends. So really unfortunate. Mayhem is basically no longer fun anymore unless you're a Void Walker. Like I said in my previous video, it has been the most fun I've had in Crucible in Destiny 2. I love the mode. It was always planned to disappear when the Dawning ends, but now it's probably not going to return for a good few months until Bungie can fix the actual glitch. But if you're wondering why there are 17,000 Nova Bombs flying towards you, then this is your answer. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did and want to support the channel, then a like rating down below would always be much appreciated. As always, got a bunch more videos on the way, so stay tuned and make sure you are subscribed if you aren't already. If you want to watch another Destiny 2 video I recently made, then you can click the image that's just appeared on screen to be taken to it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.